And welcome in to Purple Daily. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, Declan Goff producing, and our friend from ESPN.com, Courtney Cronin, soon to be Courtney, our draft scout again, because that's the direction that the Viking season has been headed here. If you're new to the show, we produce daily Vikings content, and you can find it in audio form, Purple Daily Podcast, Apple, Spotify, scorenorth.com, and also on youtube.com/Purple Daily Podcast. Vikings Vent Line, right after these games are over, is always part of the Purple Daily umbrella. And I'm going to apologize in advance here to all three of you, because every single week we've been doing this confidence, concern, curiosity segment for the Vikings' upcoming game. This is probably going to be the hardest one ever for the confidence category. The Vikings are basically down to like practice squad cornerbacks.
Not for me. I've got a huge one.
All right. Well, then let's go Judd, Courtney, Declan, and then I'll round out the batting order. What is the thing that you are the most confident in this weekend on behalf of the Vikings against the Packers?
This was the simplest one of the year because Tuesday is going to be a huge day. It's absolutely a huge day. It's the trade deadline, right? Mm-hmm. My confidence is
it's a big day for America.
Exactly right. If you're a Vikings fan, that's the thing. That's my confidence. This will be the final game for either Rudy, Riley Reef, possibly Ant Harris, possibly more. I am confident that this roster, if it's run correctly, this roster will be blown sky high, presenting a future for the Minnesota Vikings that I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, you will endorse and embrace. Vote for Rick Spielman, and if he doesn't make a lot of trades, then vote him out, or at least I should say that to Ziggy Wilf.
Make the Vikings roster great again. Yeah.
No, seriously, it's my easiest confidence ever.
How have we not seen like that comment? Like the make the Vikings roster great again. I might actually like use that as a headline in a story of mine for the trade deadline.
You need a hat, Courtney. I think we need to get the hat out.
That might get changed in Bristol, Courtney Cronin.
Yeah, that would absolutely get changed. I am confident that the Vikings team that we're going to see on Sunday in Green Bay, that this is going to be the typical Kirk Cousins game coming out of an absolute meltdown disaster. That it's going to be, okay, pressure's off now. They're 1-5, like playoffs, they have like a 2% chance, like, but they're not playing for the playoffs. They're playing for pride. And what is pride? Pride's not getting people fired. Pride's not getting yourself cut. Pride is also, hey, no strings attached. I'm going to go out there and have fun, play loose, play relaxed. And those are the type of games like Cousins has played. Think about it, 2018, 2019, played really darn well in two very close games, one that ended in a tie, one that ended in a loss because he threw a boneheaded interception in the corner of the end zone into double coverage. But beyond that, like, has played really well on the road in Green Bay. So I think he has the typical Kirk Cousins stat line where he lights it up, 350 yards passing, 3 or 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, because he learned his lesson. Remember, he went back to the drawing board and said less home runs, more singles and doubles. Playing small ball here. Essentially, like he was like meeting up with, what was the guy's name? That Billy Bean, right? Him?
The A's general manager?
Yeah, the Moneyball guy. That's who Kirk's talking to, but he's talking about hitting some singles and doubles. I am confident that Kirk is going to have the Kirk bounce back game needed to get some confidence back. Whether it matters for the season or not, anything like that, who's to say? But it is going to matter for Kirk because he's going to get his mojo back.
Wait, hold on a second. I thought baseball now was about swinging for the fences. I thought small ball was a product of the 80s. Like, what's Kirk doing? He's bunting. You can't bunt.
No, it's just like he you know, they have been explosive. He's right about that, but it's like, I don't know. I kind of have an issue if my quarterback is in the league since, 2012, right? And he's been a starter since 2015. If he's talking about like, I don't need to go for the home run play every time. Well, yeah, like, did you just learn that?
Dude, he is okay. The other thing, go back and look at the first 2 interceptions. The third interception against the Falcons, his arm did get hit a little bit, or it got tipped. But the first 2 interceptions were not a product of him just look. All right, we're just forcing the ball downfield too much. It's like, no, dude. Like, that first pass was 9 yards in the air right to a linebacker. So don't act like, well, it's all, I mean, I got 10 picks because it's all these 50-50 balls 60 yards down the field. Like, dude.
And Hail Marys. He brought up the Hail Marys. Oh, my God. Are you talking about that one against Tennessee on the 4th play of a 4-down drive? Like, when you're, oh my God, the excuse meter just like tick, 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 tick. Like it almost exploded. But yeah, that's my confidence. I think that Kirk's going to actually have a really good game this weekend.
All right. It would seem so, but I almost feel like this is the one time, like you would think that Kirk would bounce back because it's in Kirk's DNA to bounce back when the pressure subsides. But I actually think that we've reached a tipping point because of the opponent, because it is a road game, even though it's not like a typical road game. I actually wouldn't be, and he's going to be sort of gun shy to throw the ball downfield. I could see gun shy Kirk Cousins getting sacked like 6 times in this game and just sort of falling victim to being paralyzed. Like, I don't want to throw an interception, but and then it's a train wreck game. So we'll see. Declan, what are you most confident in?
You know, if Dalvin Cook's truly healthy and active and ready to go, like his ominous tweet said a couple nights ago, like, see you Sunday. So I'm guessing he's all locked up and good to go. I'm going to say that the offense actually should look competent and look back to normal, because when he was out with Alexander Mattison, we all thought it would still be fine because Madison's a pretty good backup running back, but it still was pretty terrible against Atlanta. So if Dalvin Cook is back in the offense, you got him still back in the fold, I think that'll make everything just tick and hum a lot better. So I actually think the offense should be able to compete. So I know there's a lot of good defensive linemen on the Green Bay Packers that have literally caused Kirk Cousins hell the last year, but I think the offense actually should look pretty competent against Green Bay. So that's my confidence.
Well, the Packers, if you look at especially the last 2 or 3 years, the Packers are a great front-running team, and that if they get up on a team, 10 points, 14 points, Aaron Rodgers is feeling good, and they tend to just run away. If a defense punches them in the mouth early in a game, San Francisco a couple times, the Buccaneers a couple weeks ago, Chicago has done it to them, then they tend to fold a little bit. I just don't know if the Vikings defense can punch the Packers in the mouth. So if the Vikings offense performs well, it'll probably be from behind. The thing I am the most confident in, and I'm going to steal a page from Judd Zulgad's book. I know that we banned backhanded compliments on yesterday's show, but I have a feeling that Jeff Gladney is in for a great learning experience on Sunday against the Packers. I'm very confident that Jeff Gladney is going to get a PhD in how to face an elite motivated quarterback. Get this from Pro Football Focus, okay? The perfect NFL passer rating is 158.3. When quarterbacks target Jeff Gladney so far this season, they have a passer rating of 143.8.
The highest of any cornerback with at least 20 targets.
So Jeff Gladney, enjoy your learning experience on Sunday. It's going to be super helpful down the road. I still think you are going to be a quality NFL cornerback, but it's experiences like Sunday that will expedite that process.
And I want him then to be sat down and taught off that. I don't want any Zim yelling. I don't want any Zim screaming. I don't want this kid's confidence. That's that has been my season-long concern, is behind the scenes, what's the approach? Because if that guy is yelling and screaming, it's not going to help. And this is the type of year that can ruin kids. But if you do it right and you're like, yeah, you know what, it was bad, but here's what you did wrong, then it's okay. But I would love to know behind the scenes what the approach is, because basically that secondary, Courtney, and those corners were set up to fail by the people that run this team.
Sure.
So if they're mad, they should only be mad at themselves and help guys like Gladney and Dantzler, and do not get mad at them.
Let's move on to the concerns. And keep in mind, we do have time constraints. Judd Zulgad, the thing you are the most concerned about.
I will take Declan's confidence and actually flip it to my concern. And I guess I've got a question. In fact, I'm going to call the Vikings right now. Hold on a second here. Yeah, why is Dalvin Cook going to play on Sunday?
Not even a receptionist, huh?
No, I went right through it.
Judd just has the bat.
I went right to Rick. I went right to Rick, and Mike got put on speakerphone. Why are you playing Dalvin Cook? He has a groin problem. He has chronic injury issues. Okay, nothing you do in the Ngakoue trade acknowledges. Nothing you do now is about this season, which, by the way, I'm fine with. Okay, so why on earth would you allow this guy to come back? And I'm sorry, but when you clear a guy to play, the odds of a panicked coaching staff, which the Vikings probably are, the odds of them saying, let's go pitch count here. Hey, Gary, go pitch count on Dalvin Cook. You ain't going to do that probably, okay? So from the top on down, the decision has to be made. Let's be cautious with Dalvin. I am very concerned that they are rushing him back, that he has a bad groin. They're going to use him too much now, and he is going to tweak the groin again. And now it becomes another problem. Let it heal. And when he comes back, he comes back. And if he doesn't come back for a month in 2020, I don't care.
I agree. I asked Gary about that yesterday, and he said that there wasn't any sort of indication, even though Cook was limited again on Thursday, that he would need to be on a pitch count. And that they need to they go the direction that Dalvin goes, so they need to get him back going. Well, I worry about that too, because think about the hamstring injury in 2018. He tried to come back from it too soon, ended up costing him more time down the line. So you'd like to think that they've learned from their mistakes of how they've handled his injuries before. But when you got Alexander Mattison out there and not a great run defense in Atlanta, but you're making them look like a top 5 run defense, and you muster up 32 yards as a team, you're like, yeah, we need Dalvin Cook. Dalvin's always a concern of mine just with the injuries, Judd. But my concern is, how are you going to pressure Aaron Rodgers? You're going to be blitzing a ton more than week 1. You're going to, because you had Anthony Barr in week 1 and you blitzed, I think him 6 times. I think you blitzed Kendrick 6 as well, with the, the A gap look. How are you going to do it when it's Jalen Holmes, who got pulled from his media availability immediately after someone asked him, hey, are you starting? He's like, yeah, I'm a starter. Gone.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was hilarious yesterday. It's the biggest tell in the world when, sorry, Jalen's got to get to a meeting. Okay.
Jalen's like, what? No, I'm going home.
Yeah, no.
They put a sheet over him and just usher him out. It's what?
They give him the
Michael Myers.
The big hook.
Yeah. What I think will happen is they start Afadi at right defensive end, and then they put Jalen Holmes over at Daniil's spot, because that's where he was during training camp. And I would think that at least would make sense. And then you work DJ Wannaman, but how with this group of just get better players, I don't know how to say it any other way than that, but how are you going to pressure the quarterback when you are already so thin on the back end of your defense and even thin at linebacker? I don't know. That's my concern. And I'm honestly probably curious about it too.
No, it's going to be, and you're sitting, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you're sitting there thinking, well, they're not going to pressure me. So I'm either they can just give me all the time in the world, or they can blitz. And so now I'm going to have free runners coming across the field. It's on paper, this is going to be just a glorious day for Rodgers. Declan Goff, your biggest concern?
Well, outside of the cornerback dilemma with Mackey and Judd and Courtney Cronin starting at cornerback for the Vikings this weekend, with Aaron Rodgers picking up.
I would be so bad. I'd be worse than Jeff Gladney. I
don't know. You're only 10 points away from a perfect passer rating.
I make business decisions. I don't tackle.
Thanks, Dion.
So I know the cornerback decision is going to be pretty awful, and Aaron Rodgers is going to pick him apart, but also the play calling on 2nd and long. I'm sure you guys have seen this statistic over the last couple of weeks, and it keeps popping up on Twitter. I saw it last night even. The Vikings are running the most on 2nd and 10 by far and refusing to pass the ball. And I know my confidence is that Dalvin Cook should get the offense back into a rhythm and back to where it should be. But for the love of God, Gary, can you stop calling run plays and draws on 2nd and 10? Get more creative. If it's 2nd and 10, you're behind the 8 ball. Why in God's name are you ever running? So my concern
they're probably afraid that Kirk's going to turn the ball over,
and that's a pretty good reason. That's a pretty good reason.
That's the head coach, Dex.
Exactly.
That's the head coach's mandate.
Yeah, because those are big picture philosophical things that Mike Zimmer doesn't. Mike Zimmer's not interested in what play to call on 2nd and 10, but he's the one that has to come in and say, hey, we are the team that runs the most on 2nd and long, and that is not statistically or analytically or strategically a sound thing to be doing. And I don't even know if he looks at that.
So until I see otherwise, that's going to be one of my biggest concerns. Can you stop running on 2nd and long?
Mm-hmm. I'll give you my concern quickly. It's that they will win this must-tank game. I don't think they're going to, but this is a must-tank game for the Minnesota Vikings, and my concern is that they would win it and screw up their draft positioning. Judd Zulgad, the thing you're most curious about going into this game?
Oh, this is going to be great fun. So in baseball, what do we see at the trade deadline a lot? What do we see? We see, yes, but before that,
the Twins not pulling the trigger on a big one.
Both of you. All right, but you're not thinking along the lines that I am. We see right before games begin some odd moves as far as guys being pulled from games so they don't get hurt.
Yeah.
All right, Ricky, if you're about to make a trade on Tuesday, and let's say it's Anthony Harris for a second round pick, okay? Anthony Harris can't play on Sunday. Mike has to be told, Anthony's not playing. We're scratching him because we're about to trade him to the Cleveland Browns. And the last thing we want to do is get him hurt. So if you're close to trading Reef, if you're close to trading Kyle, if you're close to trading Harris, I will go down the list. Anyone you're close to trading needs to be made inactive for that game. And if you don't and you play them, God help you, you're the dumbest person I know. Okay. So I'm dead serious. I'm curious to see the 90 minutes before kickoff inactive list, because it might have to include a player who should be starting, but you can't start them and play them if you're about to trade them.
Yeah. I like where you're going.
I do too. I'm curious about them not making moves, because what does that entail for the future? Like, if they are just going to double down and say, no, we said publicly that we're going to try to win games and we really believe this behind closed doors. I'm curious, like, well, what does that mean for 2021? Because that just extends the period of this rebuild even further, and you don't have the draft capital in the process. And Rick is somebody who loves draft capital. So if that happens, if they're just going to remain pretty stagnant here and not, execute a trade for Reef to move Cleveland over, like, what does that do to the development of the offensive line? Like, I agree to a certain degree. It's like, you're going to be, who they just signed, some guy named like Curtis something. I don't know. Like, guy who's playing safety. Like, if you have just Harrison Smith back there, sure, it's unfair because that puts but you're already set up for failure. Your secondary is decimated by injuries. It's really not a good look anyways. But hey, now you're going to use probably that second round pick to find a safety. Word to Antoine Winfield Jr. You could have had him too. But, I just, I'm curious, if they don't do anything, how bad does this rebuild actually look like? Because you're just making it longer. That's the thing fans need to realize here. You are in a rebuild. Rebuild is not just a 1-year thing. This team could be very bad. Because you're gonna finally have to be like, oh, we actually have to concede that we have to take a step back, not like try to fight through it, like kind of like grin and bear it for a couple years because they could be really bad. But like delaying the inevitable, not a good idea.
Yeah, and the quicker you just come to that realization, and the quicker you start to stockpile draft capital, the quicker the rebuild can be. Like, just get your draft capital, get more young players, get more assets to trade up to get a franchise quarterback, and then it goes quicker. Declan, thing you're most curious about? Yeah,
I'm going to take Courtney's concern and make it my curiosity, just because I want to see what the pass rush is able to look like now that you don't have, obviously, Danielle Hunter and Ngakoue. Hunter has been gone all season, but Ngakoue is now traded. Is DJ Wanham going to be in there more? Is James Lynch, who got a big sack on Russell Wilson, is he going to get more playing time? I'm just curious how you're going to be able to rush the quarterback. And I believe what PFF says, the Vikings only have like one player in the 90 defensive linemen who are the top 90 defensive linemen who would be able to pressure the quarterback. So they've basically like been non-existent in getting pressure on the quarterback. So with now Ngakoue gone, like, and all these rookies and inexperienced guys, I'm curious to see how they're able to get after Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. And I think the thing I'm actually most curious about is to go back to Kirk Cousins. Courtney laid it out earlier, and that this seems like a classic bounce back game for Cousins, and that, all right, I've gone too far, or the pressure has sort of subsided, and so now I can just be in my peace of mind mode, throwing for 300. And I just feel like this is the wrong circumstance, because I think the Packers are on a mission right now. And Aaron Rodgers is going to jump out to a lead against that Vikings defense. And I just don't, like, someone tweeted us the statistics too of Kirk Cousins. Like, Judd nailed it with his gut feeling. When the Vikings are down by like 9 to 16 points, Kirk Cousins has been terrible. And it's that stretch of game where it's kind of getting away from you and you need to make some plays, and he doesn't. And then when the game is officially away from you, that's when he starts to step back up. And I just think this game is going to be in a danger zone for him. And he's either going to try to do too much, or he's going to be paralyzed by not wanting to throw an interception. So I'm just curious to see how he responds to all this adversity. We'll see.
Dinking and dunking, right? Bunts, singles. I mean, Cousins.
That's the tanking formula. So that's good.
21 of 22, 84 yards. How does that sound?
Sounds great to me.
Just throw your just throw your cute little passes. I mean, what the hell was that quote, Courtney? That's the quote of the week. I went back and tried to watch it to understand it. It's like he's speaking French.
I think I texted you, like, do you guys remember a couple of years ago when Bruce Weber was at Illinois and he did the 5 fingers make a fist thing? Like, and it was just like that level of like, what? Like, I remember that was the first thing. I don't know. Maybe a listener will back me and be like, yeah, that is fair. I could see why you thought that was like as weird as that. But like, it was just kind of like, I get it and I don't. It's just like, it just.
5 fingers make a fist. I forgot about that, man.
Thing ever when he's like, yeah, like, you know, we're the team, 5 starters, 5 fingers make a fist, and I don't actually know what he meant by it. But
I mean, like in theory, you could still punch someone with your thumb out, though. That's the thing. Like, I don't know. Anyways, that's a wrap on this episode of Purple Daily. Our friend Courtney Cronin from ESPN.com, soon to transition back into Courtney, our draft scout, Mackie and Judd, Declan producing, and we'll see you for Vikings Vent Line. Whatever happens, we will be breaking it down with all of you Vikings fans on the Purple Daily YouTube page, youtube.com/Purple Daily Podcast. See you.